Okay, folks, this is Tony Aguilar, and I've got an unboxing for you. This is a model that's been around a long time. It's from ESCI, 1/72nd scale, and it's the Hummel. I have read that this is a really poor model of this particular vehicle. It's very simplistic in some ways. I don't know. I don't know if this was the price that was on it, but if it is, it was a long time ago when it was on discount. I certainly didn't pay this for it. I paid more. But it is 1/72nd scale. This is the back of the box with some different paint scheme options. And I actually built one of these a long time ago. The one I built was in gray, and it was probably built in the late 80s. And it's all in like parts and stuff. So it actually came with a more modern box. So this is probably a really old box from the 1970s. It looks like it was $1.75 at some point. Yeah, I paid a lot more than that, although it was still a good deal. And this is how it came to me from Noble Knight. So it looks like it was glued with some Italian tape at a long time ago. It's not the case anymore. Let's take a look and see what we got inside here. We've got some decals that are yellowed. I don't know if they're going to be replaced. Actually, the yellowing part isn't that bad. It's some of these older decals, when they hit water, they just shatter. So I expect this to be the case with these decals. And this one's in gray as well, just like mine. And this is what they said was really poor on it, is these seats are just kind of haphazardly put on there. But it's going to be a War Games model. This is one of those self-propelled guns that I have an artillery observation vehicle that would go with some self-propelled guns. And this would be one of the ones that could be leading it through town or something like that. Typical extra track link that has very little detail on it. Typical three-piece hull. These were really frustrating when I was a kid, and you had to put the two sides on it, and hopefully nothing was at an angle, and then you had to tie it all together, but I'm sure we can do that. I haven't put a vehicle with a cannon on it that's split in the middle in a long time, so we'll see how that goes. I'm sure we can handle it, but it's unusual to have that. Of course, then you've got a gun that's drilled all the way out from muzzle to breech is completely drilled out or cast that way. And I'm sure this will paint up okay. We have tracks that hopefully are bendy enough. If not, we will just have to finagle them. Not great detail on them, but you know, this is an older kit. And here's the instructions, which of course look like old newspaper. And I am sure it's going to need to get some finagling. Honestly, pretty small instructions. But a lot of road wheels, typical Mark IV undercarriage with the road wheels there. Yeah, pretty much standard fare for the 1970s. Maybe even early 80s. But anyways, we're going to show you what this thing looks all built. And it's right here. Okay, so here's the Hummel complete. And really didn't have any problems with it. This is, I've read in certain places it's one of the worst ESCI kits of all. And the only reason I would maybe agree with that, I disagree with that statement. It's crude, is what it is. You've got the road wheels should be 2-part, and they're 1-part. The return rollers are a standard Panzer IV fare for ESCI, and they are all one piece and don't even remotely resemble what it is. It was a little tight on the rubber band track, so I actually took the sprocket wheels off the front. The problem is the sprockets don't fit into the holes there. If you start modifying them, then you're going to run into an issue with, you know, these pieces like breaking on you. And the plastic wasn't brittle at all. The plastic's actually pretty decent. The spare track on the front is kind of lame on the detail department, but there's lots of Panzer IVs and Panzer IIIs that from ESCI, from this vintage, that have that type of armor. You've got all the tools that are molded on here, and this is probably where I think they probably say it's a poor model. They're just not very deep, so we'll paint them so that they pop out a little bit more. We've got the seats down in there that aren't representative of the real thing and are very, very small. Again, not a big deal for me. Fit and finish on it wasn't too bad. You have a gun that doesn't really move side to side. Sometimes they like putting a rotation option in there. And this one does not rotate, which is, I would glue it straight anyways. It's not really an issue. Other than that, it had a two-piece gun. The gun was actually two halves together, like so, and it actually went together pretty well. I haven't put one of those together in a long time. And there was some, instruction issues here that there wasn't really super clear how these exactly went together. So I had to look at the photographic evidence, the travel support for the gun. Again, you spared road wheel. It has only one piece. It's not double. I decided not to replace it with the correct one. You replace this with the correct one, and that looks nice, but all these don't. So this is going to be a Wargaming model, and it's going to look okay. We're not entering this into an IPMS competition or anything like that where we need to. The crew's trash. They're old school and not very good. And what else can I say about this? It's all right. I built one of these a long time ago in the 80s, and it was separate link track. And at the time, I couldn't deal with separate link track, so I did a pretty crummy version. But as long as they have separate link track that has some kind of purchase in between the pieces, not just piece on piece separate link track, I'm okay with it. Just so that it's easy to connect to itself and then bend it. So, but these tracks are just fine. This is kind of what we had to do with the Panzer IV that we built, and we're going to end up epoxying these things down, and we will take like Q-tips or something to push it down and give it some kind of a irregular appearance to the track. But all in all, not a bad kit. Even though it is very old. And the instructions, unlike some of the other kits, unlike the Vespa, this one has all the similar pieces, all with the same number. The Vespa had individual numbers for all these road wheels. They numbered them individually, even though all the parts are the same. Here, they took all the common parts and called them the same. So somebody must have complained. But the sprocket wheels that are the same, both have the same number, so it makes more sense. It's less confusing that way. Yeah. Anyhow, it's not bad. The decals, of course, this is an old kit, so the decals I got with this one are kind of yellowing, so we'll see if they don't explode when they hit water. But if not, we have other decals for it to go with. Not a bad kit, so it can now join the other self-propelled guns that I have in my collection, and it's off to getting it painted. Well, thanks for watching this video, and don't forget to subscribe, and we'll see you on the next one. See ya. Bye.